On Monday, January 3rd, a jury found Elizabeth Holmes guilty on 4 criminal fraud charges. They concluded she intentionally lied to investors to raise heaps of money for her startup. Theranos promised to revolutionize the healthcare industry. It claimed it could detect a wide range of diseases with just a few drops of blood. But it was all a lie, and Holmes knew it, according to the jury. Yet she continued to tout the technology, even convincing the likes of Oracle founder Larry Ellison and media magnate Rupert Murdoch to invest in Theranos. At one point, Theranos was valued at $9 billion. This is the story of how she managed to pull it off and how it all fell apart. Before Elizabeth Holmes headed off to Stanford to study chemical engineering, her parents gave her a copy of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, in which the Roman emperor argued, "We each have a purpose." For many years, she fooled people into thinking she was indeed living a purposeful life. She dropped out of Stanford when she was 19 to build a device that she claimed could perform hundreds of medical tests, everything from cholesterol levels to cancer, with a few drops of blood from a finger prick. She sold the dream of making the world a better place by helping people diagnose diseases without the need to get their blood drawn. She always appealed to ethos.
To me, nothing matters more than what people go through when someone they love is found out to be really, really sick. And
she frequently cited the death of a beloved uncle to skin cancer as the reason her faster, cheaper, and painless tests would make blood testing a routine habit. Who could resist such a story from a woman who many compared to the late Apple CEO? Not only because they both had a penchant for wearing black turtlenecks.
It's reasonable to compare you, I usually don't do this, to Steve Jobs and what he did for computing. I regard you as a visionary, next generation person. Is this the kind of ridiculous pressure that nobody needs?
you know, Steve Jobs was, I don't think there is another Steve Jobs. He was a phenomenal entrepreneur. We've got an incredible opportunity to try to uphold a legacy in Silicon Valley of changing the world. And
disrupting the world.
We're working 24/7 to do it.
Well, I understand that's exactly how you work. That's Elizabeth Holmes. She's the Theranos founder and CEO.
Everyone bought what she was selling. It certainly helped that Holmes had a star-studded board to back her up, including former Secretary of States Henry Kissinger and George Shultz, former Secretary of Defense William Perry, retired Marine Corps four-star General James Mattis, former head of the CDC William Fauci, and former Majority Leader of the U.S. Senate Bill Frist. It was only a matter of time before Holmes started receiving glowing media attention, gracing cover after cover after cover. Forbes labeled her the youngest self-made female billionaire. Holmes did everything she could to polish her image. Some say she even faked a deeper voice to better fit into the male-dominated business world. In this interview from 2005, we hear Holmes using a higher-pitched voice before appearing to switch to a lower one.
No, it hasn't. Well, if I use traditional words to describe what we're doing, it's hard because people then associate it with conventional processes.
Holmes checked off all the boxes to become the darling of Silicon Valley. She dropped out of a prestigious school, she was young, and secretive about her innovation. In the world of tech, a certain mystique was the norm, just like how Apple operated under Jobs. She took investors' money on the condition that she wouldn't have to reveal how Theranos technology worked. No peer-reviewed scientific articles existed to back up its claims. Not everyone was so easily fooled, however. John Carreyrou, who was then a reporter at the Wall Street Journal, exposed Theranos for what it was in a series of articles in 2015 and later a best-selling book. He reported that Theranos' blood testing machine couldn't give accurate results, so Theranos secretly ran its samples through machines used by traditional blood testing companies. Everything Holmes did was strategic, down to the name of her company's testing device. Holmes named her machine Edison after Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Holmes referenced Edison's quote during a commencement address at Pepperdine University when she said, "We codenamed our product the Edison because we assumed we'd have to fail 10,000 times to get it to work the 10,001st. And we did. Except they didn't." Walgreens reportedly brought Theranos tech into its pharmacies without even testing the technology. The first patient to testify against Elizabeth Holmes was Brittany Gould, who took a Theranos test at a Walgreens, which revealed she was miscarrying. It would have been her 4th miscarriage. To be safe, she decided to take tests at a different clinic that confirmed she was still, in fact, pregnant. She eventually gave birth to a healthy baby girl. During the trial, Holmes' lawyers argued that it wasn't she who was deceiving the public, but that she was herself deceived. She claimed Theranos' COO, Sunny Bilwani, whom she had been dating, had manipulated her. But prosecutors didn't buy it. Prosecutor Jeff Shank said in his closing arguments, "She chose to be dishonest with investors and patients. That choice was not only callous, it was criminal." The jury agreed, finding her guilty on 4 of 11 charges of fraud. She faces up to 20 years in prison. There is another company that you can get behind, and that brings me to the sponsor of my video, Masterworks. Masterworks lets you invest in multi-million-dollar artworks by artists such as Banksy, Warhol, and Basquiat by buying shares in their paintings, just like you'd buy shares in, say, Apple. When Masterworks sells the art, or you sell your shares on their secondary market, the returns can be enormous. Masterworks returned 32% to investors when they sold Banksy's Mona Lisa in 2020. The future of the art market is bright, to say the very least. The art market is valued at $1.7 trillion, and Deloitte estimates that it could grow another $900 billion by 2026. Contemporary art outpaced the S&P in total returns by 174% between 1995 to 2020, according to publicly available data. And with the way the stock market has been reacting lately, why not diversify your portfolio with one of the most stable assets around? If you want to take advantage and invest in some fine art, there's usually a wait list. However, you can skip that wait list and immediately start investing by clicking my custom link in the description. Thanks for watching. For NewsThink, I'm Cindy Palm.